All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for Dr. Stone, Season 1, Episode 3. All right, so we've got...
Yep. Killing a lion with one punch.
And
Mr. Tsukasa.
I don't know how that crossbow is going to fare, but hopefully it doesn't escalate things too much.
He uses the crossbow and he just catches it out of the air.
But he also specifically held back one of his science secrets, calcium carbonate.
Yes.
What does calcium carbonate do? Besides being used in agriculture, construction, and sanitation.
Right.
What if there's some kind of trick he's saving here?
That is definitely possible.
It's cool is that, apparently all the science stuff in here, as far as like
legit.
with the experiments and stuff and like the chemistry and all that is legit. So it's not cool to look up what calcium carbonate does. So I specifically did not do that.
Basically spoil.
Although I was very interested in being like, wait, what does calcium carbonate do? But show seems like the kind of one where it will have that teaching element in the midst of it. So
Indeed.
You just watch more of the show and find out.
Right.
So without further ado, let's get into this. All right, everyone, be sure to go check out the reaction portion of the video in the description below and then come back here for the discussion. All right.
Okay.
Well, this is how things went down. And hey, at the very least, Yutsuhira, whatever her name is, the girl is now revived, and we have to deal with the situation. Yuzuriha. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yuzuriha. She's revived.
Yes.
We had a wholesome, delicate moment with Taiju and her.
And then, of course, also the less wholesome moment, or rather, it's a sincere moment, but an abrupt moment, where Senku is like, yes, here's a plan. Okay, as long as I don't let him know how it's made. Hey, Senku, I just got all that stuff from the place that's for reviving people.
Just Senku, I could see being very much like a Sokka, where he's constantly scheming and thinking up things, and just constantly beats the forehead of his face down to the point where he's actually starting to lose intelligence because of Taiju.
He actually develops a welt.
But surprisingly, the stern, I would say, steadfastness of Taiju is the reason why that they're all still
alive.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they're not enthralled to his service to make things that will advance the civilization the way he wants. Yeah, and is it a bit ridiculous that he's this anime
grab crossbow bolts out of the air, that were actually from a weapon that was built well to be firing it very fast? Yes,
it's a bit ridiculous. But as long as we understand that he is meant to be a part of the fantastical environment that Senku will defeat with science, it brings, that bit of, I will defeat fantasy with science. And he is a fantasy. Therefore,
the fantasy is not
beaten with science.
The fantasy is not that they were all encased in stone and whatnot, and it's 3,700 years later. It's just this high schooler that kills lions with one punch and catches crossbow bolts out of the air, and also goes all Speedwagon on them. Yeah.
Also, I wonder if in the manga it was actually bloody when he broke the petrified bodies. Because what I'm going to guess is that the petrification somewhat kind of makes the body of the humans a little bit...
but what about the liquid?
Fragile? Well, yeah, but what about the liquid?
Sure.
So when he did all that, was he actually pulverizing flesh underneath?
Oh yeah, I mean, who knows?
So that was a bit chilling. We know now that the stakes are, I would say, rather set. They're rather clear. It's not a very complex, at least narrative-wise.
Right, because they haven't done. Because what I expected them to do was to do something where it's like, okay, Tsukasa's here. He's a bit of a problem. We're going to revive a whole bunch of people, right? You know, that way at least there's a numbers thing, right? He doesn't just single us out, and then maybe we can work a bit under the radar a bit more, right?
Right.
But they didn't do that. But they still took a bunch of it with them, so they should have the capabilities of restoring more people if and when they come across them.
Right.
But right now, they are getting sulfur to make gunpowder, and they have the the bronze to make mirrors so that he can actually have a good sextant.
My thought was they were going to introduce also a weakness of Tsukasa's in that he doesn't know how to track, and that would have been a really funny kind of Zorro kind of from One Piece style thing where he's this god of fitness,
right,
and is unstoppably physically fit. But the only thing he knows is that they're going to be on the island of Japan. Other than that, he doesn't know where they are or anything else. Maybe he can follow like the sun or what have you and know his cardinal direction somewhere.
Right.
But he's not going to go all Aragorn and be like, the pace is quickened. They must have caught my scent.
I mean, at this point, I would not be surprised in the slightest if he did that. Because it just builds up the idea of him being the ultimate predator, you know, person that's out here that like for all intents.
Why would he wake up anyone yet? Like, they're just going to slow him down.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
So, is this a story about where Senku, Yuzuriha, Taiju basically try to build certain aspects of the civilization rather quickly, and they still deal with like certain inconveniences of the lack of civilization, you know, as they have certain things advancing at different rates, and then as they essentially unlock new things in their technology tree of their RTS that they're playing here, basically, you know, opening and reviving new petrified people, they'll be able to advance different specific things because each person has their gimmick or skill that they bring to the table. And then it's like, it's not about there being how many villagers you have, it's about like what types of villagers you have.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
It ends up being kind of a thing of like, oh, well, you know, they all actually have their own kind of little thing that helps them form together as this group against Tsukasa. And even when Tsukasa comes in with his anime powers, his Aztec god of fitness, you know, like little flow movements and what have you, which by the way, his little like
that straight up
there,
felt like
that felt like Wamu or whichever one it was. I don't know if it was Wamu. I think it
was Wamu. Yeah.
Are you sure?
Or Wham? Yeah. Yep.
Yes.
Because he was the first one that came out.
I don't think he was actually the first one that came out. No, it was the other guy that
AC/DC?
No, the one that got like no recognition
because there were four in total, and one was in a separate location, right?
Yeah, that's why he was away.
Oh,
right, because they wake up 3 in Italy. Anyways, it's whatever. Okay. Not relevant here, but the point was that his little movement was so well animated, and it had all the like the flowing effects of air and what have you, and it's just so badass. And
I gotta say though, it is kind of a good thing in a lot of ways that they're making Tsukasa
over the top.
Well, yes, but Tsukasa competent in areas that you wouldn't expect him to be. Because otherwise, once Senku and everyone leaves, if he actually had the capabilities mentally that you would expect of someone, even if he had all the physical capabilities, but the mental capabilities of someone that you would expect to just be a random person that's suddenly in the Stone Age, right? It'd just be like, it wouldn't be threatening at all. It'd just be like, so there's someone out there, and they can kill lions with their bare hands and whatnot.
Yeah, they can survive. They can catch like one disease, and they're basically just gonna die.
They're not gonna know how to make soap. They're not gonna be able to, they won't know what nitric acid is. They won't know about any of this stuff. They won't know how to find us. They will be so long gone and just out of our minds that we can take our time.
I honestly actually want that to be the case somewhat, like on a tempered down scale. Where Tsukasa's thing is he realizes
that he kind of needs them.
Well, no, he kind of needs them, but more that he kind of thinks ahead and he goes, okay, how long would it take? What kind of things would they need? Okay, they need that. All right, if they're over there, that's fine, and it'll take me some time to get there, but I need to set up my own kind of secure thing and make sure I'm okay, rather than just constantly hunting them.
Sure.
So he revives a couple people, and basically is like, you are my peons. We are going to make the world this way. Welcome to the New World Order. I am your god. And they're like, yes, absolutely. Like,
well, he still needs to figure out how to do it, because just because he has the nitric acid, that's not enough. So,
he didn't see her getting revived.
Yep. And that was one of those things where I was like, good job, Senku. That was really smart. Like, doing something where it's like, oh, yeah, I can, keep the location a secret. And he's like, I want to know the location. He's like, yeah. Okay, now we know.
Get away. Go.
Get away. All right, now we'll mix it up. Okay, cool. Use it.
That's
all right,
true.
there you go. But, yeah.
Right, because it's not just that he makes it from the fluid there, he adds stuff to it in order to make it work fully. So he might not be able to actually free anyone yet. That is a very good point.
Tsukasa, right.
Tsukasa, yeah.
One of the things that I was wondering if they were going to do is, like, when they eventually split up, because they'd have to do that at some point.
Right.
Who gets what as far as resources when they split?
Yeah.
Because depending on the circumstances of the split, now in this situation, they split under the best circumstances, right? They take all the food, they take all the stuff, really. Yeah. Other than, I guess, the birds, but all the stuff they can reasonably carry and just get out of there, right? Because if there was something where Tsukasa, say, got his hands on some of the stuff, then, say, he is able to revive the 2 people and make them his peons, then he's really got some room, like, some stuff that he can work with.
Yeah. I love the whole thing of when he realized, like, yes, we found the great Buddha. Yes, awesome, wonderful. And then Senku is just like, well, they made the Buddha out of bronze. And then there's all this stuff about, like, it's leaking copper ion, so it's basically poisonous to plants. And then he's like, all right, we can use it to get the bronze. Time to upgrade my trash sextant. And he just immediately goes to town on it with a hammer. What I love about Senku so far is that he has his goober little moments and stuff like this. But he has no reverence for anything at all. Nope. It's all in service to his science. So when he sees something that, oh my God, this is a piece of history, culture even, something that civilization evolved to produce something like this over the course of thousands of years of like human development and thinking, I'm gonna smash it because it's not a specific material that I need.
No, granted,
it's so irreverent and perfect for a crazy young mad scientist type character.
Well, and also when they're talking about civilization and whatnot, and how progress, right? They need progress, so take apart this thing. Now, granted, he wouldn't need that much of it, even if he took out as much as him, or more specifically Taiju, could carry. It would still be like just one part of one of the broken pieces, right? Like, but still.
Yeah, they've somehow gotten around a lot of the logic stuff of how they actually have any sizable carrying capacity by just, Taiju has the big strunk for everything because he is getting a huge passive buff from being near Yutsuriha. A huge passive buff. All of his stats are maxed to craziness.
He hasn't gotten laid in 3,716 years.
He's never been laid. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
This boy is like the biggest virgin.
3,716 years.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of time. It's a lot of just pent-up time. Yeah.
Yes, you could say he is rock hard, stoned even.
No, not anymore.
Not anymore. Yeah. He was! But then he came out of the stone, so yes.
Yes, but the point is, now... And okay, I gotta say, I really appreciate that Senku mentioned one of the very legitimate options of, you two could just run away and restart civilization. Like, I can handle with this guy here, because he at least is needed because he knows the science stuff, right?
Right.
But like, it might be a good idea for you guys to just leave, right? Yep. That is a very legitimate, option that they didn't take, because it makes the story more interesting, of course. But.
Right. So far, they haven't undermined Senku's intelligence in order to draw out more drama. And they also haven't had Senku they haven't had the plot undermined really as much in order for Senku's intelligence to be shown as absolutely crazy.
Yeah,
like the idea that he was like, we'll prep our weapons and stuff like that in order for him to be here, and then suddenly Tsukasa's there, and he's like, you weren't supposed to be that fast. Like the idea that like the only thing that's kind of broken about the narrative is just that Tsukasa is this demigod.
The obstacles that they're up against, basically. But yeah, because one of the things that like happens a lot, you've probably noticed in stories, is whenever they want to have a super smart person, especially if it's the protagonist, it's not that they're smart, it's that they have this passive aura of stupidity.
Everyone else is stupid.
Everyone else gets stupider the closer in proximity to them they are, which then means that their plans just go amazingly, right? They don't have to do that here, because instead they just soup up all the problems that Senku's up against, and that way he can be plenty smart, and it doesn't really matter because he can't defeat them just yet, because
just immediately
they can plot crossbow bolts out of the air. Yeah.
So the crossbow moment was awesome, but I love the idea that he like acknowledges that he has to use the sextant, even though it's completely like useless garbage in terms of accuracy. He's like, that's the best thing we got, so you know, whatever. They mentioned the whole thing of the petrification here, and the idea that he's like, hey, the pain's going away too, and he's like, it has the revival fruit has rejuvenating properties too, and it's like, well, no, it doesn't. It's just that when the small cracks get mended when the petrification is reversed. Now, what's interesting about this is he's quick, or at least pretty quick to be like, no, it doesn't have rejuvenating properties. Remember, he's been up and around for a while before Taiju. Which still, we have to keep in mind, there is the possibility about how intentional this whole event was, and Senku having his whole... You know, he kind of has some knowledge regarding this stuff.
And a lot of it could be things that he figured out in that period of time, or
still,
conjecture, or whatever.
But
it's off-screen stuff.
Off-screen assumptions, essentially, from us. So and then there's this whole thing of, our faces are cracked, you know? So I'm curious then why she doesn't have a crack.
Well, it might be that her bangs are covering it, but one of the things that they brought up this episode that I thought was kind of interesting is that her foot had to be undone as a second time, basically. Now, maybe it's just that part got missed, right? But there is the possibility that it started to re-petrify.
Yeah, I doubt that's what it is.
Probably not.
He's been out for a long period of time. Senku's been out for a while.
Good point.
I love the idea that he's like, yes, the greatest invention in human history, and I'm thinking like, oh, he's actually gonna go a bit like into not the actual technology, but like a food technology thing, like the idea
irrigation.
Well, no, like the combination of like certain chemicals, like salt, like the idea of just like salt is naturally occurring or something like that, but something so basic, but it's got all these properties of things you could use. And he's like, nope, guns. And I'm like, well,
are you American?
I guess Senku, like, just the idea that that's where he wants to jump ahead to. He's like, we're going to warp civilization 1,998,700 years into the future. I'm like, hey, you know what?
Yep. Go
Senku.
Just wait until he decides, like, you know what? I've got enough, well, he's not the type to think about it this way, but if he was a bad guy, to think like, I'm going to get some disposable peons, find uranium, and figure out how to make a little boy or something.
What?
Yeah.
Why? No.
He would never have a reason to need that, but...
No.
Yeah.
If anything, I thought he was going to try and find a way in order to make some kind of sustainable power thing that using water or something like that, where he basically
find a river and builds
a motor of some kind. Just like
a dam or something like that,
a computer or something. Like, well, I mean, that might be a bit too far out.
A computer would almost be pointless because there's no other humans to really connect to.
No, but I'm talking about like the same principle of like having it solve. I guess he is the computer. Never mind. I guess I'm thinking of like solving problems for him. So he like runs a process that has him clone himself, essentially. Like, that's where Senku gets to be a god, is that he actually finds some way to put his intelligence...
Dr. Stone. They end up just in a facility that they end up constructing, and they figure out how to
make a computer.
And then they're just like, okay, what do we have the computer do? I'm not sure, but...
We've still got hundreds, if not thousands of years before all of humanity is revived. We're going to upload Senku into the computer, and his knowledge will be with us forever.
This survival civilization game is going to become a sci-fi.
Hey, I mean, you never know.
With as smart as Senku is, I mean...
This is the kind of story that could go on forever. I mean, there's no real limits here.
Maybe another 3,700 years.
I mean, yeah, maybe if anything, it will last as long as Senku is in high school.
Well, one of the things... Well, right, okay, yeah, so there's the whole high school thing, and they, no life after high school. But in all seriousness, they're aging now, as far as we know.
Mm-hmm.
That's a potential problem.
Oh, sure.
Because now, whenever they revive other people, and if it takes a long time to get to the point where they can actually revive a lot of people, that means that their clocks are ticking.
In terms of civilization, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Means not immediately, but we're eventually going to have to solve the reproduction question.
Yes, so Yuzuriha.
Yuzuriha! Hey! Let's make babies. Okay, but y'all, this is all just silly speculation at this point. We've gone through the first 3 episodes here.
Yes.
We've got a goal now. We're making weapons of science, and we're going after gunpowder, and to black powder, I guess, then to probably more specifically gunpowder, then to guns themselves.
Yep, that's right.
So yeah, let's
do this.
Oh yeah, let's do this. So y'all, if you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion to the show, check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get on early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us and the community there about this show, about anime in general, all kinds of other stories there, like Jacob's sci-fi novel he wrote.
Yes, so I wrote a sci-fi novel called Battle Lines. It's really cool, and it's on Amazon if you want to get it. Links in the description down below. It's in both hardback and ebook. Go check it out.
Yeah, so if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all
next time.